Though we refer to these devices here as poetic devices, the devices below are not the exclusive domain of poetry alone. Many of these are to be found in other writing genres too, particularly other creative forms such as stories, novels, and creative nonfiction. Many of these devices have their origins in poetry's root as a spoken literary form. They rely on the musicality of words, their rhythm, and rhyme. They focus on various sound effects that can be created by carefully chosen words. Other devices are more concerned with imagery. They forge connections between various ideas and conjure pictures in the minds of the readers. Together, these devices lift poetry into the realm of art. The following devices are organized into sections. The first section, titled Sound Devices, deals with the following devices: alliteration, assonance, consonance, onomatopoeia, rhyme, and rhythm. The second section, figurative language, deals with metaphor, personification, and simile. These are not meant as an exhaustive list, but to give an indication of the possibilities for these elements of poetry. You can find many more examples of this in our module on figurative language. Sound devices. Alliteration. This device involves the repetition of the initial sound of series of words, often consecutively. Alliteration is most easily explained to the students by looking at few example tongue twisters. If Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, how many pickled peppers did Peter Piper pick? Consonants. It's similar to alliteration except the repeated consonant sounds can be anywhere in the words. Consonance is the consonant-focused counterpart of assonance. It involves the repetition of consonant sounds in the middle or at the end words as distinguished from alliteration where the initial sound is repeated. Example: silken, sad, uncertain, resting. Assonance. Repeated vowel sounds in line or lines of poetry. It often creates near rhyme. Similarly to alliteration, assonance involves the repetition of sounds in a series of words, often consecutive words. However, rather than repeating the initial sounds, assonance focuses on the internal vowel sounds that are repeated. Example: lake, fate, base, fate. We notice that it all share the long A sound. Another example would be from John Masefield: slow the low, gradual moan came in the snowy. And also from William Shakespeare: shall ever medicine thee to thee sweet sleep. Onomatopoeia. Words that imitate the sound they are naming. Example: buzz. Or sounds that imitate another sound. The silken, sad, uncertain rustling of each purple curtain. Onomatopoeia refers to the process of creating words that sound like that everything they refer to. For many students, the first introduction to onomatopoeia goes back to learning animal sounds as an infant. Words such as oink, chirp, woof, and meow can all be thought of as onomatopoeic. Rhyme. Words sound alike because they share the same ending vowel and consonant sounds. A word always rhymes with self. Example: lamp, stamped. We can share the short A vowel sound and share the combined consonant sound. Rhyme refers to the repetition of sounds in a poem. Various types of rhyme are possible, however in English, we usually use the term rhyme to refer to the repetition of the final sounds in a line or end rhyme. Letters are often used to denote a rhyme scheme. A new letter is ascribed to each of the different sounds. And these are the different kinds of rhyme. We have end rhyme. A word at the end of a one-line rhymes with a word at the end of another line. Hector the collector. Collected bits of string collected dolls with broken heads, and rusty bells that would not ring. So we can notice that we have the end rhyme of string and ring. Next one is internal rhyme. A word inside a line rhymes with another word on the same line. Example: once upon a midnight journey, while I ponder weak and weary. So it's from the Raven. We notice that it's an example of internal rhyme because the word is inside a line that is rhymes with another word on the same line. Near rhyme. So it's also known as imperfect rhyme or close rhyme, and the words share either the same vowel or consonant sound but not both. Rose, loose. So we can notice that different vowel sounds of long O and O sound, but it share the same consonant sound. Next is rhythm. The beat created by the sounds of the words in a poem. Rhythm can be created by meter, rhyme, alliteration, and refrain. So rhythm in poetry involves sound patterning. A lot of classical poetry conforms to a systematic regularity of rhythm, which is referred to as the poem's meter. This involves the combining of stressed and unstressed syllables to create a consonant beat pattern that runs throughout the poem. Each pattern of beats is called a foot. There are various possible combinations of stressed and unstressed syllables or feet, and these patterns have their own names to describe them. While it is impossible to explore all of this article, we take a look at more of common ones ideas. Okay, let's move on with the figures of speech. We have first simile. So a comparison of two things using like or as or resembles. Example: she is as beautiful as a sunrise. Unlike metaphors that make comparisons by saying one thing and something else, similes work by saying something as similar to something else. They commonly come in two forms. Metaphor: a direct comparison of two unlike things. Example: all the world's stage and we are merely play. Metaphors make comparison between things by stating the one thing literally is something else. Metaphors are used to bring clarified ideas by forming connections. Often, metaphors reveal implicit similarities between two things or concepts. Personification: an animal given human-like qualities or an object given life-like qualities. Let's have this example by Shirley Jackson entitled Ninky. Ninky was by this time irritated beyond belief by the general air of incompetence exhibited in the kitchen, and she went into the living room and got shocked. Who is extraordinarily lazy and never catches his own chipmunks, but who is at least a cat and preferable? Ninky saw clearly to a man with a gun. Personification is a particular type of metaphor where a non-human thing or idea is described human qualities or abilities. This can be in the form of a single phrase or line, or extended in the form of stanza or the whole poem. The elements of poetry are many, and while the elements explored above represent the most important of these, it is not an exhaustive list of every element. It takes lots of exposure for you to become comfortable recognizing each and the confidence employing these elements in your own writing. Take every opportunity to reinforce your understanding of these elements. Poetic elements are often employed in genres outside of poetry such as stories, advertising, and song, and waste no opportunity. And these are other poetic devices. Symbolism: when a person plays a thing or event that has meaning in itself, also represents or stands for something else. Example: a sheep for innocence, an eagle for America, and a dove for peace. Allusion: allusion comes from the verb allude, which means to refer to. An allusion is a reference to something famous. Let's have the snowball from John Greenleaf Whittier. At tunnel walls and overlaid with dazzling crystal we had read of where Aladdin's wondrous cave, and to our own his name we gave. What do you think is the allusion here? Okay, very good. We have of rare Aladdin's wondrous cave. And lastly, we have imagery. It's the language that appeals to the senses, and most images are visual, but they can also appeal to the senses of sound, touch, taste, or smell. Then with cracked hands that ached from labor in the weekday weather, as is an example of imagery from those winter Sundays. So that would be all for the poetic devices. Again, take every opportunity to reinforce your understanding of these elements. Thank you.